Hello, my name is Pradyumna and my friends call me Prado. Ages ago, when I was 3 or 4 years old, I had a stuffed monkey. At the time, I was obsessed with the Jungle Book show that used to air on television. This is the anime from 1989. It had reruns in India in the 90s and 2000s. It had iconic voice actors. Nana Patekar played Sher Khan.
अरसे से मुझे अच्छा भोजन नहीं मिला था खैर देर आए दुरुस्त आए
And the Jungle Book had monkeys in it that looked exactly like my stuffed monkey. So, after the collective name for the monkeys of the jungle, I named my singular stuffed monkey Bandar Log. That started an obsession for me, naming everything. Anthropomorphizing began with naming action figures, G.I. Joes, and superheroes, but they already had their own names. There was Quick Kick and Dusty and Mercer and Cobra Commander and Snake Eyes, Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, and Flash. But naming didn't stop there. I started naming other things as well. The favorite of my toys was this yellow Hot Wheels car that I had. I got it in a McDonald's Happy Meal. It had a switch underneath that turned on this red underglow light. I named that car Speedy. Point is that all things got names. And then, as teenagers do, I rebelled against everything that I held dear in my childhood. I started calling them childish and stupid. But the teenage years ended, and there was once again the acceptance of childhood memories as pure and innocent. With time, the practice of naming things came back, and it has now become a ritual for every significant object that I bring home. The act of naming an object, especially the ones that we interact with often, forms a special bond with it. It imbues it with a uniqueness that marks it out as special in a sea of mass-produced clones. Objects have value in all the value that we give them. In the age when craftsmen made their own everyday objects, there was little reason to name them. Forging the blade or making a chair was enough to make a special bond with it. The act of creation or modification or repairing something made it unique. Every nail, every scratch, every imperfection is filled with character. Back in the day, scars were thought to add character. Sons of noblemen would fence with a little bit of their face unshielded so they could get scars on their face. These scars would serve as symbols of their bravery. But now everything comes out of the factory with perfectly aligned seams and millimeter accurate curves. 50-point quality checks have made inconsistencies marks of failure. So a single scratch on your car hurts as if it was on your own skin. But scratches on your skin will heal, and scratches on your paint job, for the most part, will not affect it. Caring for your objects can grow into babying them. They're objects of steel and plastic for the most part. Phones designed painstakingly for the best in-hand feel with laser-etched textures and space-age materials are covered up in cheap silicone and plastic cases. I'm not saying you should just scratch everything up for the sake of it, but let it live a life of its own. Let the scratch on the fender be a reminder of the time that you were learning to parallel park. If you don't like scratched up things, then naming them is especially important. When people roamed on horses, they named them. Why don't we name our cars now? Horses were trusty steeds that took you to your destination or rode with you in battle. All their niggles and idiosyncrasies, they were accepted as characters of that horse. So why shouldn't your bond with your car or bike be just the same? With its broken fuel gauge or its stereo that randomly shuts off. Let it be commemorated with a name. My name is Pradyumna, and here are some of my friends. This laptop became Alaska, after the titular character in John Green's Looking for Alaska. The fact that Alaska in the book chose the name for herself stuck with me, and since the laptop couldn't name itself, I named it after her. Alaska, much like her literary counterpart, spoiler alert, died. Its successor became Alaska II. I bought this phone in 2018. It is a Motorola Moto G5S Plus. It got the name Hermes, the messenger of the gods. But this is actually not Hermes. This is a clone of it. A friend of mine bought the same model, and it remained in a case in this pristine condition. Yeah, this isn't Hermes. This is Hermes. It started out the same color, but it got a few scratches on the back as I kept it in the same pocket as my keys. It also fell out of my pocket while I was going around 40 on a scooter. It bounced and slid for many feet and stopped across the road. Oh, and this was on a bridge, by the way. It did all this without a case or screen protector, of course, and it got a few dings on the edges. But the screen itself was completely unharmed, although caked in dust. After washing the phone, we resumed like nothing had happened, and it didn't even lose the Bluetooth connection to my earphones. After it had received many more dings and scratches, one day I was fidgeting with it, and I started scratching it up even more with the keys. But it was not doing enough, so I got some 80 grit sandpaper and sanded it down to its current state. This is in the time when a cheap 15K Android phone was built out of aluminum. I prefer the look of Hermes over his sister. Hermes III is young still and has not had any scars yet. Da Vinci came to be a polymath, just like his namesake. He draws, does complex science and mathematics, and does photography and edits videos and maintains beautiful journals that one day Bill Gates will buy for millions of dollars. This is Donatello. He is the less famous brother of Da Vinci, but he is older. He laments being stuck in the electronics box now. Da Vinci has taken his job. The Library of Alexandria was supposed to be the largest collection of the world's written knowledge. This is Alexandria, and she holds a vast amount of books from across the world. She also goes with me almost everywhere I'm going, so that the time spent waiting for appointments or for friends who are running late can be spent reading rather than scrolling mindless drivel on the phone. Meet Hemingway, the keyboard I used for typing out all my screenplays and short stories, and has seen me struggle through writing my first novel, all 6 drafts of it. After many all-nighters of writing something or the other, it died. This current state is purgatory, waiting to be utilized in some future work of art. This Hemingway wasn't much of a fighter and wasn't a big fan of bullfighting either. This is Pointer, because he points at the screen. A mouse pointer. Not to be confused with his brothers Dasher, Prancer, Rudolph, and the others. This is Lumos. He illuminates the desk and witnesses all of my crappy art. My other friends are quite big, so we will meet them outside. This is Artemis. She is fierce, wild, and can hunt down any other vehicle on the road through her determination and agility. Artemis is probably my favorite sounding name of them all. Artemis also has a twin brother. The color is officially sunburst orange, hence the god of the sun. And a lot of poetry has been written here, stuck in traffic. Rounding out the trio is Aurora, named after the Roman goddess of dawn, because that's when we usually go out for our rides and represents a new way to explore the country. I want to show you the process of how I named these objects. Here are 3 new additions. I used to use these metallic markers before, but I have discovered a new tool. This is an engraving pen. It allows you to inscribe onto metal, glass, plastic. But first I want to mark it out with a regular marker. Then I will engrave on top of it. The idea is not to be very precise with your marks. I just want it to look unique. Once I'm done engraving the name into it, I will fill it up with a black marker and clean up the excess with some sanitizer. Let's speed through the other 2 as well. I scraped off the product name and engraved the name that I've given it. So I present to you scribe, bard, and null. So go ahead and name your phone, your car, your favorite shoes, whatever you love. Name ubiquitous things as well. At my writing studio, I have named the ceiling fans after the 4 Greek gods of the winds. What's in a name? A rose by any other name would smell just as sweet. What's in a name, Billy? Well, you're long dead, but your name survives. My name is Pradyumna. Thank you for watching.